And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is
Classic.
Welcome, revelers, and look at this. We get a look at Brad Lee's studio / attic here.
Oh yeah, is it the attic or is it the trees?
No, dude, we get to see your spray foam insulation on the roof. That's pretty funny.
Wow, that's wild. Because it was just freaking.
Yeah,
that.
it shows in the perimeter. Well, because you're not there, so it shows like around the chair. It shows your ceiling. So
Oh, okay, because the chair is green.
So that's pretty funny. Anyways, welcome everybody to Off the Rails, Right versus Left. I'm Rob B. That's B Rad.
I'm Brad B Red.
And we're gonna talk a little bit more. We were online for the entire Musk Trump conversation last night. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that since we tried not to interrupt the conversation too much. And then we're gonna before that though, I'm gonna cover a little bit about what's going on in Ukraine, because I would think that it'd be getting a little bit more attention than it is. They asked Biden about it today for like the first time. So, and he's just like,
I hope you got that clip.
You guys, I'm not going to tell you guys about the pressure I'm asserting. Well, why the fuck would he be asserting any pressure?
He's not. That's the thing.
Yeah, but even
that's why Ukraine went in, right? Because they were tired of waiting. Let's get into it.
That. Okay, so what's actually happened? I can pull up the map here. So this is the little area right here that they've gone across to. So over, it's not showing on the stream, but they're moving towards the Kursk region. Well, they're in the Kursk region, but they're moving towards Kursk. The other region, kind of like off to the just south of there, that's the Belgorod region. So they're starting to get worried over there too. And you know, it's kind of hilarious. You know, you can kind of see like on this map, the big red blotches are the areas that Russia has. The little tiny square is a zoom in, and a fraction of that square is what Ukraine is holding in Russia. So Russia's holding about 40,000 square miles of Ukraine. Ukraine's holding about 400 square miles of Russia. So what's hilarious here is the shit coming out of Putin. Oh, it's a terrorist attack. They invaded a sovereign nation. They're bombing civilians.
That doesn't make any sense.
Our nuclear plant is in danger. They want to conquer the nuclear plant and use it for nuclear blackmail. So I'm now convinced that Putin's a Democrat because he's accusing Ukraine of doing all the shit that he's doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a socialist, right?
Not actually.
Communist. What exactly is he? Because I don't know. What is the government of Russia?
Okay.
Is it a tyranny?
Well, they're a democratic oligarchy.
Okay.
Like they do have elections, and like he is pretty harsh on people that are coming
arresting
up against him.
Right.
Well, but I mean the reality is though, everybody who comes up against them does have a lot of dirty money. You know what I mean?
So it's like this god awful terrible guy or this other god awful terrible guy.
Basically.
And it just happens to be Putin who's better at playing the game.
Exactly. Well, and then like I always said, like, you know, from my time in Russia, what people in the West don't really understand about people in Russia is after the Soviet Union fell, the mob ran the country. Okay.
Mhm.
Like everybody lived in fear every day. Everybody was starving. You couldn't get medicine. You couldn't get anything. Like the country was a mess. Putin became president and he fixed that. And people had savings and had prosperity and they all own homes. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he saved the country and he is loved for it. And Russians, they respect strength. That's why he does all the doofy shit like the riding the horse bare chested and doing the judo matches, even though it's like, I mean, he is a black belt in judo, but like
Yeah.
his competitive days are like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
So they're all for show, but he does it because that is what Russia respects, his strength. You know, not like this
Mhm.
freaking flaccid penis we have in the White House.
Well, that's what most of the world respects is strength,
Exactly.
right? Which is why we're just being walked on right now,
Everywhere except
like
the
you were
West.
saying. Right.
Yeah, and in the West, they've done everything they can to make people weak bitches, so the government can stomp on the people. I mean, it extends to what's going on in the UK right now with the government like threatening to arrest their people if they post images of what's actually going on in the UK, which is pro UK protesters are being arrested. Well,
Right.
Muslim thugs with knives and batons are
Well,
going around killing people.
but okay, you're absolutely right there. I'm not gonna fucking push back on that. But it's mostly about because people are being arrested for their social media posts about perhaps all this illegal immigration that we're letting into our country isn't such a good thing. You know, just for saying something like just off the cuff like that, or even sharing something like that, there can be arrested. And now they want to come after Americans.
Yeah. So well, and then what was funny is like they're threatening Nigel Farage, who's a politician, for speaking
Mhm.
out against what the UK government's doing. So like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But they're able to do that because they spent the last 50 years making the populace weak. And they disarmed the British population, just like they
Yep.
did in Australia, just like they did in Venezuela. Like you see the same thing happening, they're just at different stages in the game of different countries. Now,
Right.
what the Islamists are doing in the UK, dude, that's exactly what they did in Africa, in North Africa, and then through Spain. They did the exact
Look,
same thing.
look, dude, I'm just waiting for. Okay, look, the French, bro. When they started fucking taxing truckers or putting up speed cameras and shit for the truckers, what did they do in France? They went and destroyed every single camera, every single one. The French know how to freaking uh, throw a protest and get some stuff together. And if that ends up being a problem in France, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, these people will probably go and find every single mosque in France and destroy every single mosque in France.
Okay, you might think that, but then when they had a chance to get rid of Macron and all of
Y-
his
y-
policies,
Yeah,
what did they
I
do?
know
They didn't vote for the conservatives, which allowed Macron to like make a backroom deal with the communists to stay in power,
Yep.
which is exactly what he did. And guess what? They got fucked. Nothing's going to change.
Hmm.
And the only reason that the Muslims weren't allowed to act up was because the Olympics were going on.
Yeah,
Now that the Olympics are over, you're
that's
going
the
to
only
see Paris
reason.
on fire again.
Yep. It's
So that
weird
was
how they can clean. It's weird how they can clean it up for something like that. Kind of like, San Francisco and fucking California. They can
oh
clean
yeah,
it up, when they need to, or not even when they need to, when they want to. When it becomes beneficial for them, they can clean it up. But after it benefits them, it's game on again.
okay. So let's apply that to Russia. Okay, Russia, you have a strong leader. Like for all the shit that people that get arrested for not committing crimes, people like Brittany Griner, what happened to her is exactly what happens to a Russian who's caught with
Yeah,
drugs, and she was
right.
caught with drugs. The
Yep.
fact
And
that
shit, that's That's pitiful that we got her back for the Merchant of Death.
Yeah, well, what's interesting to me is didn't hear shit from the WNBA because she should have been suspended for a year under their code of conduct.
Yeah, so how did she get into the Olympics too?
Good
Didn't Michael
question.
Phelps get in trouble for that? Didn't he have to
smoking weed?
Yeah, didn't he have to give a medal back or something?
Something like that. So, anyways, so in Russia, they don't tolerate crime. Like, the penalties are harsh, they're severe, and don't even think you're going to get out of it if you did it in court. Now, that being said, you do have an opportunity for an offense, but like, I mean, there's not going to be any question if they arrest you, they're going to have the evidence and you're going to go to jail. Now, they can fabricate evidence too, unfortunately, because it is kind of an autocracy, but it's an elected autocracy.
Right.
You know what I mean? The people they have the opportunity to vote Putin's party out of office every year, and they don't because they like what he does.
So it's kind of like Palestine.
Yeah, kind of.
They vote in Hamas to be part of their government.
Right, but it's like the reverse because Putin actually provides security, stability,
right,
a living wage. His argument that he was making, well, it's kind of ginned up, but there were Russian speakers in eastern Ukraine that were dying.
Right.
Now, granted, they were only dying because he gave them rockets to shoot at Ukraine. You know what I mean? So it's like the same whiny bullshit the Palestinians do. Oh, the Israelis are killing us. Well, yeah, because you were firing rockets at them.
Yeah, maybe don't poke the bear and you won't get fucking eaten.
Yeah, so that's exactly what was going on. Is like they gave the Eastern Ukrainians the rockets to go and fire at them. They did the same thing in Abkhazia and South Ossetia, who are now independent countries, yet all those people have Russian passports. That's what happened in Georgia. In Transnistria region of Moldova, Russia did the same thing there. They did the same thing on the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Like, they do this all over the world. Like, if somebody starts floating away from them, they knock out a part of their country, take it over. And then Zelensky pushed back. And so Putin said, oh, okay, squash. Like, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like,
well, so I don't understand what's going on this whole thing, right? Because you look at Ukraine, they put up one hell of a defensive, right? After fucking Russia came in, and then we've been giving them. Everybody around the world's been giving them aid, right?
Yeah.
And it took this. Why did it? Like what's the purpose? Are they just trying to? Are they trying to destroy all of Eastern Ukraine? So it's just like all fucking bomb shit, so that we have to go in there and fucking help rebuild it.
Well, Eastern Ukraine's not being destroyed.
Isn't that how
Central and Western Ukraine are being destroyed by Russia? And American companies already have the contracts to rebuild.
Well, I know that. So this is what I'm saying. Like, so Ukraine's going to go back in and take back what they've lost, which they should. And what has the Russians done? So the Russians didn't cause any damage when they came through Ukraine.
No, because they had the quote unquote separatists plus all of their mercenaries that were in there working with the.
So they just pushed them all back. They just pushed them all back to Kiev. Oh, okay. And then so they were able to group and get
exactly.
Okay. So
then they dug in, and every summer they're pushing forward and grinding it out. Why? Because at the start of the war, Ukraine had 1,000 tanks, and Russia had 100,000 tanks.
Right, and now Russia doesn't have that 100,000 tanks by a long shot. Let alone the fuel.
But now they probably only have like 60,000. You can't say they don't have the fuel because they're one of the largest oil producers in the world.
That's what I didn't. That's what I didn't understand. Like at the beginning, they were like, "Oh, these tanks don't have any fuel." I'm like, "Is that really what it is?
It's
They don't have fuel.
that's bad.
You said
That's
they're
bad logistics.
yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're horrible logistics. They had the same problem when they fought in Chechnya. They had the same problem when they fought in Afghanistan. Russia is
They don't
horrible with
fucking
their
learn
logistics.
anything.
Well,
So they haven't learned
well,
anything.
yeah, and that's the same thing. It's the same thing in World
That's
War II. Like
probably why.
they
That's
couldn't
probably
move.
why all those fucking generals came up missing.
Yeah, it's exactly why.
What do you mean my tanks don't have fucking fuel? How are my soldiers even eating? What the fuck?
Yeah, and then they found out that those generals were making deals to ship the oil to fucking Iran and North Korea and shit, and pocket the money.
Fucking
While
ridiculous.
continuing to requisition more fuel to keep supplied.
Okay, but so here's what I'm saying though, right? Okay, so is this whole purpose of the war to just cause as much damage in Ukraine as possible? Because
I
like
think
okay, so Russia you say has kept the eastern part of Ukraine, pretty stable and not fucking all trash, right? But
mhm,
they're blowing up all of western Ukraine and turning that into shit, right? But
right.
not really because Ukraine is now able to push back into eastern Ukraine while at the same time turning that into shit now.
But they're not.
Like,
But they're not able to
look,
push back. They've been falling back for over a year. They haven't made
yeah, I
any
know,
advances on the
and
ground.
most of it has been because of uh, delays by our government.
Well, not just our government, but I mean, the reality is the European Union collectively has an economy the same size as the United States. The European Union could give them more arms than we ever could. They've got
Right.
they have independent economies, and they have much more production capacity for artillery and all that stuff. They have more manufacturing than we do because we offshored all of our manufacturing. So the
Right.
reality is
Well, and they have a vast, yeah, they have all of Europe, Asia. I mean, there's so many fucking continents right there. So
yeah, exactly.
trade has got to be great.
So the reality is Europe should have been supporting them the whole time, and they're not.
Right. But I mean,
So
we did say commit to helping them with their defense in Ukraine too.
well, but the reality is like Russia has Europe by the pearlies because they can just shut off the gas because they're still using Russian gas.
Right. Right.
So and that's part of the concern with this offensive because the gas transit pipeline that goes to Europe passes through the land that Ukraine's pushing into. So now what I think would be perfect is if Ukraine, because Russia had no plans for defense. It was the same thing in the World War II. The Russians had all their troops down in Siberia to counter the Japanese because the Japanese were moving up through China and Korea and Mongolia, and so they were like lining that area with their troops. And then when they got attacked 4,000 miles away, 6,000 miles away, they couldn't get their troops back. They couldn't get their equipment back. They couldn't get their fuel back. And that's why like the Blitzkrieg was able to sweep through all the Soviet republics outside of Russia, and they actually got to Russia. So what's kind of funny is like Ukraine's moving towards Kursk. Kursk was the site of one of the largest battles in World War II. So like if Kursk had installed the Germans as long as they did, and then Stalingrad hold out, Germany wins the war because they would have taken all of Siberia and all those resources. So it's like crazy. But like that was civilians taking up arms against the invaders and like holding out. Like they've got a big ring of cities around Moscow that are all called hero cities because the civilians moved out of Moscow, out of Stalingrad, which is now St. Petersburg, set up a defensive line and held back the German forces until the Russian army could form up and push out the Germans. And then their offensive was on and they swept right back across the country. But yeah, all the way back to that, they couldn't logistically get their troops back over to the Western Front. For them, it was their Western Front because they were all in the East keeping an eye on Japan. So then it's like the same thing. And it's the same thing in Ukraine. They're just really suck at military strategy. Like Japan during the Russian and Japanese war, Japan destroyed their entire navy. Like in 2 battles, destroyed the entire Russian navy. So
Dude, the Japanese are pretty badass, dude.
Dude, they weren't back then. They were like struggling to take Taiwan from China. So they put a lot of work into it after that. But yeah, the Sino Japanese war was going on, and then like Russia tried to get involved, and Japan whooped their ass. So then Russia sent their best admiral with the Baltic Navy all the way around Africa and back up. And it was hilarious because they kept like sinking friendly ships because they were like so paranoid that it was Japanese patrol boats. Then they get close to Japan, and when they see it's a Japanese patrol boat, they thought it was a Russian fishing boat. And so they said, hey, get out of the way. We're going to be attacking the Navy in the morning. By the time the sun came up, the Japanese Navy had sunk every Russian ship.
I think I remember that story. That's hilarious.
So yeah, Russia kind of like sucks at war. The reason they keep winning wars is massive, overwhelming force and unlimited fucking resources. Okay, well, over time, that's gonna benefit Russia. Now, back in the days of Afghanistan, like nobody, like they were always having problems with the people in Dagestan and Chechnya. Like the Soviet people did not want more Muslims, and that's what getting Afghanistan would have been. Because they were already having problems with the Muslims in Dagestan, which is part of Russia, and Chechnya, which is part of Russia. So they didn't want to take Afghanistan.
What kind of problems were they having?
Same kind of shit that everybody has. The freaking terrorists. They won't conform to society. They're like they reject all the
religion is law.
Exactly. So that was always a problem in Russia, and Russia is still really bad at war. But the longer a war goes, they have a vast amount of land and a vast amount of resources, and sooner or later the numbers catch up. But Russia, like in a direct war with the United States or a direct war with China, Russia loses.
Right.
Because
right now Russia's being forced to China and Korea.
Yeah, but now China has Russia right by the balls. Like China's never been Russia's friend, and they're not now. But now Russia owes them. That's what their game they're playing is. I mean, it's like the same thing. You know what China did all through Africa, right?
Yeah.
So they loan for all these projects for airports, for building to buildings and shit like
infrastructure. Yep.
Yeah. And then they call the loan and they're like, oh, if you can't pay, then this, and this is all ours. And so now like China owns like 30% of the continent of Africa, including most of the cobalt production and all that shit.
Right.
Well, what do you think Xi Jinping is getting from Russia in exchange for helping them out?
Oh, gas.
Gas. They need gas. And now Russia built a pipeline going right around Mongolia and straight into China.
Yeah, because China found out that in Iraq, you know, the oil that we burn off, the waste oil that we burn off at our refineries, like down there in Houston and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that waste oil burn off. Yep. China tried to buy that from Iraq. Iraq said no, because Iraq won't sell. Their oil is for their country.
Right.
Which is why they have gas at fucking like 5 cents a gallon. I don't know if it's the same, but it was 5 cents a gallon when I was over there.
Yeah, because they basically they sell it below cost. They massively subsidize. Saudi Arabia does the same thing.
Well, that, and it's just you can go 10 miles and find a river of oil over there.
Yeah,
like a literal oil river.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, it still has to be refined into gas.
Oh yeah, and they just bury it with sand. There's so much of it. They just fucking bury it with sand and fucking bulldozers. Just see them dozing the fucking shit. I'm like, what? Then you come back 2 days later and it's nothing but dirt is there. I'm like, wait a minute, there was just a fucking oil river right there just a minute ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So and then the other part, like Russia's got this weird shit. They've got cities that aren't even on maps. And like if you fly over them, you'll never see them. Like there's
Well,
secret cities that they've kept covered since the Cold War.
really.
So we don't know what their capacity is or how to hit them because you don't know where they are. So it's nuts, dude. It's like their resources are great, but they just don't have more resources than us. But we don't have the manufacturing capacity. But what America has shown is when we really get to war, we can ramp up production quick. Because the country does kind of solidify. I mean, look at, September 11th. After that, like both sides of the aisle were like, let's go get those fuckers. You
Yeah,
know
but
what I
do we
mean?
really have do we as Americans now, seeing the way our culture is nowadays, do we have the testicular fortitude to win a war like that?
Well, I think a big majority of the Zillennials would end up in prison just to allow the war effort to go forward. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Diego's back there keeping up the
Stretching it
background
out.
there. Yeah. I guess he's bored with our conversation.
Three
He's like
people aren't.
he's like, and we got people on Rumble too. So yeah, and then it does the weird thing that like sometimes it shows X and sometimes it doesn't. It's weird. Last night for a longest time it said we had one person on X, but we had like 14 people to watch the whole stream. So little numbers, hopefully to be big in the hundreds and thousands someday, but if not, we still have fun having the conversations. Anyway,
Someday.
so essentially what had happened was it would be like let's see, the US kind of got founded in Pennsylvania, right? So it'd be like if Pennsylvania became its own country
Mhm.
and then wanted to have arms treaty or a mutual defense treaty with China. Yeah, fucking Pennsylvania be snapped right back into the fold of the US. Like we
Yeah.
go in, conquer them in 3 days, it'd be over. Which is what he thought he was doing. Ukraine's the same size as Texas. So if Texas left the Union and tried to make a strategic defense pact with China, Texas would get taken over again by the US because it just wouldn't happen. And that's what we were trying to do with Ukraine. And he's like, no, like our country is born from that country. We're the same people. It ain't fucking happening. And then fucking Biden went to the like big security conference and kept pushing talk that Ukraine was going to join NATO. And he said, well, fuck this. In we go.
Well, and
So
then he said it would depend on the size of the incursion.
No. Like before the attack, like Biden was at a UN security or at a NATO security conference and said that he wanted Ukraine in NATO. And that's always been a red line for Putin. He's always said it's a red line.
Yeah.
And they said they were gonna try and fast track it. And what they fast tracked was Russia going in and bitch slapping Ukraine. Now that's not to discount what Ukraine has done. It's amazing how long they've held out. Like it's amazing how hard those people are fighting. But they went from 20-year-olds fighting to 50-year-olds fighting. They're gonna lose the war. But what they're doing now is kind of brilliant because they're attacking a part of Russia that didn't think they need defended. Belarus is right there. Belarus isn't going to attack, and they've got Ukraine pinned down in eastern Ukraine. So, and they're advancing on them. So they didn't think they need any defenses there. So Ukraine's just running roughshod through the region, and Russia's not good at mobilizing troops to the defense.
Yeah.
So the reality is, if
so
they
Ukraine's gonna run in there and fucking cause a bunch of damage, and then they're gonna end up getting pushed back out.
Well, I don't know if Russia can hold the lines and push them out. I don't know if they have that many troops. They may have forced Putin's hand to where he's going to have to do a full mobilization, and then who knows what happens in Russia at that point. You know what I mean? But like even the Russian people are like, okay, we invaded them for 2 years and now they invaded us, and you want us to go die because they invaded us because you invaded them?
It's
You know what I mean?
Kind of like what is a woman? A woman is a woman.
Right. So where they're at, if they take over the entire Sumy region, the Kursk region, and the Belgorod region, They would control about 40,000 kilometers of Russia, which is about what the Russia holds inside Ukraine. And they'd own 2 nuclear power plants in Russia. So it'd make it a pretty even land swap to, hey, you get the fuck out of our country and we'll get the fuck out of yours. So, and they're of the impression that if Trump wins, Putin's going to be forced to the table, and that would make for an equal land swap so they can get all their land back.
Mm-hmm. But then they'd have to hope that Trump wins.
Yeah, but I do because like I don't know if you like listened to the show that I did the other night. Right now, Trump's on the way to losing. He's on the way to losing because, like, as funny as his stick is, it's not going to get through for the idiots that are going to vote for Kamala.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
every time he's asked a question, he should be saying, "Well, Kamala Harris is in office right now."
Yeah, Kamala Harris is in office. What does she say? That should be the answer to everything. I mean, she's sitting there stealing his shit. She's turning into a Joe Biden, plagiarizing. Mm-hmm. I don't know that she can pull off the Biden campaign like Biden did.
Yeah,
she's gonna have to get out there.
Well, now we'll transition and talking about the stream because it's funny. Did you catch what the reporters were doing to the White House? Going to the White House and asking them what they were going to do to stop Elon Musk and Donald Trump from having a conversation? Yeah,
because and that's the thing is Elon Musk has a large audience. Dude, Elon Musk has a large audience and he's telling people to back Trump. You know, he's trying to get Democrats that are on the fence to vote for Trump, which is cool. We need that. Dude, like, I just don't understand. Like, okay, could you imagine? Like, you saw what happened when people were like, Joe Rogan backed RFK. I'm like, who cares? It's Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan can back anybody that he wants. This is America. I'm like, what? Joe Rogan gives our side a voice. He also gives the left a voice. He also gives the libertarians and such. He gives everybody a voice that he finds interesting. Joe Rogan said, "Why are you gonna take my fucking vaccine advice from me? I'm an idiot. I'm not a scientist." He's if you're taking your vaccine advice from me, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't take my advice because I say a bunch of stupid shit.
So here we go. The original Space broadcast last night had 239 million listens. Mm-hmm. The reposting of the audio from that has 10 million listens on Donald Trump's post and 9 million on Elon Musk's. Dude, that's like 260 million people that heard that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing about Twitter is that though a listen can be like you listen like for 10 minutes of it, and that counts as a listen.
Well, what I think was great that Elon Musk did is every time fucking Trump went into his silly shit, he just like pushed it aside and went back to the meat.
Right. Yeah.
So
it was a good conversation because a lot of shit that Trump said last night I have heard before, but how many hundreds of thousands of people that were there listening hadn't heard it ever?
Yeah. Exactly.
And now that was the first time. So I mean, what Trump is doing is good. Like people complain, like you just were talking about, you know, the giving fucking Kamala shit and being Trump. It's people that aren't seeing him he's being himself. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I agree. He needs to attack, but also he needs to be himself too.
Yeah. But
because that's the intrigue. Like, let's be honest, okay? There's only 2 reasons anybody watched or listened to that show last night, and it was the guy who owns the company and the guy who's the president. I mean, they were both superstars, which is why Trump doesn't need Beyonce or Taylor Swift to draw huge crowds, you know?
All right, look at this headline. How Elon Musk has turned X into a pro-Trump machine. That's from CNN, being shared on the Microsoft News Network. So MSDNC. So, like, and I think it's funny considering that's what all the mainstream media has been doing for the Democrats for 15 years. Is being the pro Democrat machine.
Go make your own YouTube. Go make your own Facebook. Well, here, I'll just buy Twitter. Oh, now it's a problem. Now it's a big problem. But
Yeah.
nobody's being censored on Twitter. No one's being kicked off for wrong think.
Well, I do have some issues, and I've actually like added Elon Musk directly about it. But there's still censorship going on. Their algorithms still catch some bullshit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, and it's stupid. Like,
and it's probably going to take so much time to get rid of that. Well, and then the community notes, like, I mean, it's a great thing, but like the liberals are starting to use them to try and like manipulate how the stories. And it always starts with that. Well, it's not technically fake. Well, it's not technically AI, and it gives some bullshit trying to discount what's actually the truth. So, luckily, I think like at least most of the people on Twitter, I mean, they're still like the idiots each way, but most of the real people, like, because a lot of these fucking people are fake as shit.
Most of them are.
Oh, did you see the post that I made yesterday on X? This was awesome.
I don't get alerts.
This was a picture from one of her rallies.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, you notice they're lit up on both sides of their arms, not just the side that the sun would be on.
Yeah.
And notice how
the bottom part is darker, but they're supposed to have been in partially in a hangar, and
right. Well, and then you look
at it totally looks iffy.
And then you look at their phones and like, what exactly are they filming?
Yeah, because the phones are like light and blue. What? That's weird.
Anyway, so yeah,
that's weird.
Like, so I was just like, but they all look like cardboard cutouts. But it was
great. I don't think that's something that we need to focus on. I don't think Trump should have wasted fucking airtime on that. But
no, I just think it's funny.
It does look suspect, and I've heard that there's other stuff out there, and I mean, I don't know. Shit, I hear there's fucking reflections on the plane that don't match the size of the crowd, and I'm like, are we really gonna go that far fishing into it?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't.
That's not even the point.
Let the social media commentators do it.
You
know, jackasses like us, but like, I mean, some of this shit is just so ridiculous. So this was another zoom in. Look, she got the Lord.
Is that a monkey?
Logo. Looks like Lord Voldemort, bro. Like before he got his whole body back.
I don't even. Who is that? Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't in the Harry Potter.
So this was the best video I've seen.
That's classic.
Now it does say satire down there, but it does explain the lack of a reflection of a crowd on the plane.
Yeah.
Because you see, they're right in front of a plane, but what do you see in the reflection of the plane? You see the hangar.
Yeah.
You see, there's no crowd, none. So if you were to do it, that's exactly how you're going to do it. Now, so Candace Owens did this thing where she talked about a old study that they did, and they took 18. The CIA took 18 people, 17 of them were CIA agents, and one guy was a guy off the street. Okay. And they held up a picture of a triangle. Okay. And they asked every single person, what do you see? all 17 of the CIA agents said square like they were told to. So when it was time for the 18th person to say square or to say it was a triangle, he said it was a square too. That's exactly what the media is trying to do with the news. Okay.
Mhm.
So occasionally somebody has to say that it's a fucking triangle.
Right.
Because what you have the media doing is pounding, he's a Nazi, he's a fascist, he's racist.
Mhm.
And they're going to say it 1,000 times until you say it too. And then they do the same thing. I mean, like you've seen the supercuts of the media working in concert, right?
Oh yeah, where they all automatically have the same things to say at the same time about the
Yeah.
same subject, the same literal freaking talking point.
Yep, right here. Oh, that was pulled. Oh, and I had the video like set up for this, but it was pulled. Okay, here we go. So here's another one. Hold on.
We're extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities.
The El Paso, Las Cruces communities.
Eastern Iowa communities.
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
We are concerned about trouble and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is
Oh Jesus, what was that? Yes, what you are doing is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So you got one outlet, maybe two, because sometimes Fox News gets it right, sharing Trump's
Well, yeah,
perspective,
OAN, Newsmax.
and then everybody else attacks it
Yeah.
using the same words, just like Kamala Harris should be dropped from the ticket. 3 weeks later, Queen Kamala is coronated, and they're all repeating the same. Oh, she's like great, and she's not she's a moderate, and blah blah blah. Like same fucking reporters that asked her about her record as being the most liberal member of the Senate, like left of Bernie Sanders. So, like, it's, I mean, and that's what's going on. And, like, if Trump wastes time saying anything other than Kamala's doing this, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Not
you're
Kamala
right there.
Kamala is in office and doing this. I want to do this to fix the problem she created. That's how every question he answers for the media should sound exactly like that, so they cannot butcher what he's saying.
Yep. She's the one that's put us where we are now. How is she gonna combat inflation on day one? How is she gonna take charge of the border on day one? These are all things that she had either a part of or was in charge of.
Exactly. Like the tips thing.
The what?
The don't tax.
Oh, the tips. Yeah, no tax on tip.
Right.
I
So
like how she said hospitality workers, and everybody's
yeah,
she's saying hospitality workers. I mean, no, she said
yeah, but
hospitality.
this is what they should be talking about right here.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
So
Wait a minute. Did it just say that there was a tattletale site?
a what?
It said there was a tattletale site.
Yeah. Yeah. She set up a narc site.
Tell on your fucking server that you tipped because she's not paying tax. What? How the fuck are we supposed to know, anyways? Oh, here's the deal. They say what 18% gratuity is added to you.
Well, those are paid out by the companies, so the companies are already required by law. So
Right, so they're taking that
when she passed
double tax.
When she cast the tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, she enacted the tip reporting to get cash tips and a tattletale site, so you could get money for reporting somebody that makes tips for not paying taxes on their tips.
Who does that?
I don't know.
Socialists, communists, Nazis.
Dude,
I'm not gonna tell on you. I'm not gonna tell on you for not paying your taxes, bro. I don't give a fuck.
I watched a court case where a woman took the guy to court because they were both making the same amount of money. They were both paying equal amounts of the bills. Plus, he was paying for the kid's private school and insurance. And she took him to get more money because he got a new girlfriend. Never mind the fact that she's engaged and about to get married. Right?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turns out it wasn't even his kid.
Oh,
and she knew it the whole time.
No. Oh no.
So people do crazy shit.
Yes, they do.
So it was crazy. Give me a second. We're almost done. Anyway, the dog's telling me that it's been about an hour.
Right on.
So we're going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Anybody who ever wants to join us, you're welcome to come along. Oh, we got somebody in the chat. Mike says, Kamala 2024. Let's go, baby. I don't think so.
Kamala 2024, right?
I
Do you even know who that is? Do you know who Kamala is?
Haktua. Oh, wait.
Camellia?
Hold on. I know who she is. Hold on. Where is this at? Here. Hold on.
Did you see she talked to Bill Maher?
Oh, ooh. That's a tough interview for her.
It was AI.
Oh, was it?
I guess. I don't know. Matt Walsh was talking about it on his show today.
Oh, right. Put it in the wrong place. Okay, hold on. Here's Kamala.
Camellia.
Haktua for president is what Mike says.
Camilla.
Haktua for president. So anyway, no. So what was the AI thing that you were talking about?
The interview with Bill Maher and the Haktua girl. Look it up, see if. Is there anything about it?
No, I got Bill Maher talking about it. It is funny listening to him talk about her, though.
All right.
2020 primary.
Nah, yeah, I'm not finding it. But he's
Biden's campaign money, and on the Democrats' best issue, abortion, she's a walking reminder to women that Republicans are coming for the abortion pill. She won't just protect Plan B. She is Plan B. And as a former prosecutor, Kamala was putting criminals in jail back before liberals decided that was a bad thing. And now that CVS is locking the shaving cream behind plexiglass, Democrats are coming around to her again. Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. And like an electric car, your MAGA uncle can't explain why she fills him with homicidal rage. She just does. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Oh my God. This is a left-winger, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, but you're not allowed to say she was in charge of the border anymore.
Yeah, you are. But I just say it's misinformation.
But he gets attacked a lot because he says shit like, yeah, you're losing people to Trump because you want to fucking cut off kids' penises.
Mm-hmm.
Like his audience goes silent when he says shit like that, but it's true.
Yep. So, like, share, subscribe. You should have commented more than just ding dong Mike. I don't know if he was trying to get a razz or just is really ignorant and wants Chameleon to win the presidency. I don't know. But still comment because we enjoy it.
Yeah, it's always fun, even if we have to mock you for it. Y'all
I bet you his last name's Hunt.
I bet he's itchy. Anyway, y'all have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to visit warmongershop.store to get some cool merch from here and my gaming shop, my gaming channel. And y'all have a great night.
Roger, Roger.